In part 1 of this video, we talked about the different forces that affect the vehicle. We also talked about the different kind of aerodynamic devices that you can put on your car to improve these factors. And today, I'm going to show you what I put on my race car. Welcome back to the channel, race fans. In this part 2, I'm going to be showing you how to put aerodynamic devices on your car. As you can see, if you buy them off the shelf, they can become very, very expensive, but there's no need for them to be. You can make your own in your garage for cheap, and here's how. So a lot of people think putting a wing on a hatchback car, especially a front wheel drive hatchback car, is pointless. I will tell you this, they are incorrect. Wings work on any vehicle. So this car at the moment is very ass happy because she's so light. The Saturday of the last race weekend, every time I touched the brake, the back end wanted to break loose. I got full soft on the shocks on the back here and full soft on the sway bar and lower tyre pressures. I'm trying to generate as much mechanical grip from this back as possible, but I can't go any softer. So what I did was, to improve it was, I made the back softer relatively, because what was happening was, as I was coming into brake, the weight of transfer of the car was going onto the nose because the front suspension was so soft, and it was actually lifting the back, which made the car lighter at the back, made the back go really heavy. So to make the back softer relatively, I tightened up the front so it didn't dip as much. And it was only a half turn of my Kona yellow suspensions, and it was night and day. So now I want to increase the grip even more. More grip on the back, less oversteer, you can go through the corners quicker. So how do you do this? So first thing you've got to do is get the geometry of the back of the car, which is hard to do if you've never done it, but it basically is mathematics. It's the Pythagorean theorem that you want to use. You want to know from the back here how long this part is and how long this part is to get the right angle spot here. So that's a right angle triangle. So you need to take measurements from the end of the window outwards to the bottom. It's easier said than done. The way you can do it though is, you can measure, you know this length. This is a surface you can measure, but you can't measure thin air. So measure this, and then the easiest one to measure is the vertical. It's called the plumb bob. What I did was I got my friend to hold a piece of metal with a level on it, the back of the car, level. And I dangled this on the back. And then all I did was I marked the string where it cut where I was measuring from, up to the piece of metal. So now I knew the vertical axis, I knew the hypotenuse, I knew this is the right angle. I can use the Pythagorean theorem to figure out what this is. And that's what I did. I got the correct measurements. Okay, but what does having the correct measurements allow you to do? Well, it allows you to figure out the correct placement for the actual wing in the airflow. So this is how I did it. Race car's going to get painted, so this is a really nice working surface. So I drew lots of diagrams, X, Y, and all this kind of stuff. Measurements of this part, the vertical part, the windshield. And I came up with that basically 36 centimeters off here, and 43 centimeters up is the perfect spot for, is the 90-degree angle from the end. So what does that say then to me? Well, I know through doing my research that your wing wants to be in free airflow. So as the air comes over here, it delves down the back and goes in this direction. So having it anywhere in this area here would be bad. So basically, up here is where you want to put it. And for me, that works out at 15 centimeters off and 15 centimeters up, which is nice and easy. 15 up, 15 off. Now, like I said earlier, there are kits you can buy. PCI Racing make this kit for both the EF and the EG hatchback, but it's with a wing, it's $665 plus shipping from the US. For me here in Canada, that's going to be $1,500. That is just not what I want to spend on this race car, to be honest. Be way more expensive than I expected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and try and make my own brackets. I have a wing. I found this on the shelf. You can see the actual shape of the wing. It's not super aggressive, but I've got this. That's the key thing. So I now need to make brackets like the PCI brackets to hold this wing 15 centimeters off the roof line and 15 centimeters back from the roof line in the what I would worked out to be my sweet spot. So how am I going to do it?
I'm going to put all that math that I just did to good use. And it's funny because kids always ask themselves, when am I going to use algebra in real life? Well, here you go, to make race car parts. After doing some research, I found that the best placement for the wing is 15 to 25 centimeters above the roof line and 15 to 25 centimeters back from the roof line. First things first, I'm going to design where my wing brackets are going to mount to the chassis brackets. Basically, the mounting points are 10 centimeters apart, so I'm creating a rectangle with the 2 holes for mounting in the area that I want to mount the wing. So we have our starting point, the part where our new bracket's going to mount to the wing. Now I have to figure out how I'm going to attach them to the chassis. The forward points seem to be the easiest, so that's where I'm going to work first. Basically, I'm taking the point from the very back of the roof and connecting it to where I made my mounting points. I'm trying different designs here, like that short 45-degree angle, but I didn't like the look of it, so I am now going to go and extend that. I obviously now need a little separation from the roof and the bracket, so I'm going to use approximately 5 mils. With the gap from the roof now sufficient, I'm just drawing a line back to the mounting points. Then I will figure the kind of angle that I want to do as it goes down the back of the windshield. Here I've marked the area where the stock spoiler finishes, and I've gone about 20 mil off that before I start doing my angled point. I figured 2 inches off the back of the trunk was a good point to start, and I'm connecting my top point and my lower point now for the actual bracket. The bottom half of this bracket is going to be about 2 inches, which I'm using the set square width for. This too has to be offset from the actual trunk itself by approximately 5 mil. Now that I have my bottom part of this bracket designed, I've now got to figure out where it attaches to the top half. I could go straight up to the very back of the bracket, but if you look at the PCI design, it has kind of a zigzag. It comes in and then comes back out, so I'm basically going to copy that. I'm now going to color in the bracket so that you get a good idea of what the template will look like. And once this is fully colored in, you'll see it's very similar to the PCI bracket. You can see here that the Agile template is taking shape and beginning to look very familiar.
Alright guys, that's kind of what my brace is going to look like. I think that's a good starting point, like a rough good starting point. You compare that to the one on the PCI website. I might make this a little chunkier, but the fact that all the forces are going to be acting in this direction, not too bad. The key thing now is to cut this out, see whether it actually works on the vehicle. If it doesn't, then I can make adjustments on the rest of this board. All right, let's get it cut out. So here it is cut out. I tested it on the vehicle and it looks like it's going to work. So now I need to turn it into this. Okay, and I've got to turn this into this. Here we go. Both the aluminium mounts. It's cut in 1/4 inch aluminium, T651, so the strongest stuff, so hopefully it won't flex. I put the holes in and these are the holes I've gone. So these two and this one is where the actual wing brackets mount, and it gives me a bit of a rotation there to increase angle of attack. I got the mount for the front, I got a mount for the back, and what I've put here is I've put a hole here, so I'm going to connect some threaded rod to keep them the right width apart so that I can, when I set the wing, I can set the angle of attack and actually have a handle to hold onto. You'll see when I do it. On the car itself, I've mounted these brackets. I've left them loose for the time being, and they're a bit sharp and all that, but what I'm going to do is, once I've mocked it up and made sure it works, I'm going to take these off, round out the edges, bevel the sides, same with the mounts, and then down here where these nuts are, this is where the bottom's going to mount. It basically comes off the car by about 5 mil, and the plates are long enough on the back here so that if I pull the bottom of the mounting system this way backwards towards the car, what it will effectively do is tilt the wing like this, therefore increasing the angle of attack, therefore increasing the downforce, but also increasing the drag. That's something I've got to play with setup. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to bevel the edges, I'll mock everything up, and then we'll come back and we'll look at how I'm going to set the angle. What I did was, if you look closely, if it'll focus, maybe down here, all I've done is gone over it lightly with a flapper wheel, just to get rid of the sharp edges. Like, sharp edges, if you don't know anything about aerodynamics, create wingtip vortices and turbulence, which generates drag. Now, I haven't gone as extreme to make these like completely rounded, but you can now run your hand on them without slicing your finger. So I've got them both done. I think we should bolt this up and see whether it actually fits and works. Okay, so she is mounted. Basically, I tapered off these edges here to get better airflow. I've drilled another hole here to make this a bit sturdier. I'm not going to do that at the bottom. I am going to get all nice new smoother like button head bolts to go in here so the airflow is better. But basically, we're currently sat at just under 10 degrees. I don't know if you can see that. 10 degrees of angle of attack. Now the car is slightly left low on the floor here, but it's within 0.5 of a degree. See how it's attached to the wing there? We have a little bit of space down here. And now what I'm going to do is I've made this bar so I can pull this out. So what I'm going to do down here is drill another hole probably there, and they're close to 12 degrees angle of attack, so I have two settings. What I should have probably done is move these further up so I actually had more of this, but I think more than 12 degrees is getting a bit too aggressive, but she's sturdy, and that's not fully bolted down. Now, I don't know what she's going to be like in the airflow, but this is basically what PCI make. Their mounts, they'll come down to these factory holes, so they're a bit wider, which gives a bit more lateral stability. But my wing, my other holes are here, which, if you look, would be putting it straight through the lights. So I only had one option. Now, in the future, if I decide to go for a different wing, you never know. But I don't think that looks too bad. Some cleaning up of the brackets to do. But I think it's time now to go on to the front and start working on the splitter. Okay, just quickly before I get onto the splitter, I did the second hole there. So that's the 10 degree hole, that's the 12 degree hole. And if you look, 11.9 is close enough. So as far as I'm concerned, apart from putting an extra bolt in these two and changing this hardware to button screws, this wing is now done.
There you go, race fans. I just made expensive brackets to mount a wing on my car for a fraction of the cost. The metal only cost me $150, my time and my ingenuity. So give it a go. And on the next video, guys, we're going to be doing the splitter for this car. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you for watching.